Hello everyone, welcome back to Chef Plays, and today we're doing a couple tier lists. We're doing some Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies weapons and perks tier list. Obviously we're starting with the perks. And yeah, let's boogie on down. So for the tiers we have must have every game, strong preference, good to have, don't mind it, situational at best, and actively avoid it. So yeah. So starting with Quick Revive, situational at best really. The only time I have Quick Revive is if I'm playing Cold War, just for the health regeneration. I could take it or leave it. If I'm playing any other Black Ops, the only time I do use it is if I'm playing with somebody else. But that's really about it. Other than that, I feel like it's kind of a waste in space. Double tap, strong preference. Some maps don't have it, especially in, I think Cold War doesn't have it, and Black Ops 4 doesn't have it. But if it does have it, I generally get it. I feel like depending on the weapon you're using, it's not a must-have, and depending on the game, because it does change. There are two different types of double tap. But yeah, strong preference, not a bad perk. Just if it's not there, it's not the end of the world. Jug, I feel like it's necessary, especially for those high rounders. If you're just playing a quick game, I'd avoid it, but if you're going for a high round or trying to do an Easter egg, it's always nice to have. Ignore Black Ops 4, because the only way to really have Jug is to make the game easier. Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess is the same thing if you think about it. Speed Cola, for me, is an absolute must-have, because you don't realize how slow the guns reload until you're not using Speed Cola. Is that a fly? Oh, no. It's a piece of fabric from the chair. But yeah, you don't realize how slow a lot of the weapons reload until like you either have Speed Cola or you have it for a while and lose it. So I'd say it's a must-have. Stamina Up, for me lately, I have a very strong preference for it. I more times often than not am using it. Especially if I'm playing a solo game, it's always a go-to for me. Again, if I can't use it, it's not the end of the world, but if I can, I like to grab it. PhD Flopper, I think it's good to have. I've only used it a couple times, because I do like to play the newer zombies, and a lot of them don't have it. But, you know, the times I have used it, it's not like it's a bad perk or anything. I want to say this is Tombstone. No, it's not. Oh, this is the second chance thing from Black Ops 4. I'd say that's a pretty good one. I don't mind it. I've only, again, like PhD, only used it a couple times, but probably less. I don't think it's bad. I think it definitely has its merits. Yeah, I think it's a good perk. Who's Who? I'm sure I don't need to go on about that one. It's if you're someone who can use Who's Who effectively, like in a high round, I have nothing but respect for you, because it's such a ridiculous perk. And it's only on one map. So for those of you who don't know what it is, it was on Die Rise Black Ops 2. And what would happen was when you would go down, and you die, it would respawn you relatively close by with nothing but an M1911, and you have to revive yourself, which ridiculous and insanely difficult, especially if you're in a high round, which the only way I ever end up with it is by doing the jumping jack exploit. And it's not even an exploit because it's put in the game. If you get on a jumping jack round, which is like the Hellhounds, and you kill all of them without shooting or knifing using the trample steam, you get a free perk, and that's one of them. It's the only time I've ever had it. I've never bought in the perk. I mean, maybe once when the map first came out just to see what it was, but other than that, no. Vulture's Aid, I don't mind it. I think it's cool. It's only on one map, if I remember correctly, and that being Buried. You know, it works, it does what it needs to. Sometimes it can help if you need, like... It's more effective if you have, like, a ray gun, because one of the things it does is it can cause zombies to drop ammo sometimes, but it's only like 1 to 2 bullets. So if you're using like an SMG, it's not gonna do nothing. Deadshot? Yeah. Yeah, Deadshot. Again, it's good to have. I don't think it's OP. I think it's okay. Again, it's one that like sometimes I'll get it. I think in Black Ops 4 in my perk lineup, it's just kind of there as a 4th perk slot just because I needed to fill it out and didn't want any of the other ones. So, yeah. Oh, what is this one called? Deadeye something? Deadeye something. That one's a strong preference. That's, I think... I have an alarm. I already did that. That's for, like... in Cold War, it helps you... Well, in Cold War and Black Ops 4, it helps you see through walls. So, like, you can see zombies and whatnot. But in Cold War, if it's maxed upgraded, it also has the additive to have zombies drop more... what is it called? I can't remember, but it's an upgrading material for your weapons. And once you have it maxed out, that's always a perk I make sure to grab. Widow's Wine, I think it's good to have. It used to be one of my S tier perks. Like, back when it first came out, I mean, not even back when it first came out, up until recently, I started getting into Black Ops 3 again. And it's okay, as long as you're in a map with a decent enough space to train. It can be really good in a pinch, because what it does is when you get hit, it'll replace your grenade slots with like spider webs, and if you get hit and you have some in your inventory, it'll cover the surrounding zombies and spider webs and slow them down and give you a chance to get out. But if you have it and you don't have any grenade slots open, then it's just kind of wasting space. Dropping zombies can often cause them to drop another grenade pickup, but it's, again, not a bad perk, but it can be good to have. Bandolier Bandit. I think that's an S tier. That's a Black Ops 4 specific perk, and what it does, a lot of these are Black Ops 4 specific. But what it does is it just gives you more stock ammo, which doesn't sound like incredible, but like that's another perk I make sure I have every single game that I play Black Ops 4 Zombies, which I still do actively play, like a decent amount. And I don't know, I always make sure it's in my loadout. Like, it's in my loadout for solo games and multiplayer games. Whatever this one's called, I don't remember. It's okay. I don't mind it. I think, again, the only time I've used it is if I've popped a Perkaholic or it was the free perk from doing the 9 trials. It's not terrible, you know. I think it's okay, again. The Luna Wolf, I'd say situational at best. I personally don't like it because I don't like when things go to take your kills, like whether that be teammates or traps. It bugs me. I don't know why. It's just a small pet peeve, but it really bugs me. So yeah, that can get kind of annoying, especially if you do get it with like what's the something fountain, soda fountain, I think. And that ends up being an extra perk or Perkaholic or something, then yeah. Electric Cherry, I think it can be good to have, depending on the map. Again, it just electrocutes the enemies around you when you reload, so I don't think it's terrible. I really don't have any complaints with it other than like when it was first introduced, like in Mob of the Dead and stuff, it does way too many screen effects. It calmed down by Cold War, but man, in Mob of the Dead and like, it wasn't in Buried, I don't think. Origins, just Black Ops 2 in general, I had way too many screen effects, so it could be kind of disorienting, whatever the word is. Elemental Pop, I literally actively avoid this in Cold War. Because there's nothing worse than, like, going for... I don't know, I have one gripe with it. Because I don't like the ammo type that... The turned, that's what it's called. I don't like that at all. So, when it randomly happens, and, like, I'm trying to do things, and there's a turned zombie walking around ending the round, it just annoys me. So I avoid that one. Ethereal Blade, I'm going to say strictly situational. Because although it is cool, the only time once I got the hang of it and learned what it did, the only time I did use it was to get camos for the ballistic knife and the Bowie knife. It just allows you to it makes your knife a lot stronger. And then if you stack it with a drink thing that makes your melee 5 times stronger, then it makes it super strong, and it helps with like mini bosses and stuff. But like I said, strictly for like knife camos. Mule kick, I don't mind it. I think it's okay, but there's nothing worse than like forgetting you have it and then getting like a ray gun or something on it and then losing it. I think it started in Cold War, where if you got down and lost your mule kick and lost a weapon, you would get that weapon back when you re-drank mule kick. PhD slider, again. You know what? Actually, I don't mind it. I think it goes a step below. Okay, I'm going to say it's good to have. I do like that one. If it's the one I'm thinking of from Cold War, or no, that's Cold War, but it's the same exact thing. I like it a lot. There's really not much else to say for it that it was for that. I do use it more, but I wouldn't quite call it a strong preference. It's like if I have the money for it and I have a perk slot, I'll grab it. Man. Okay, this is... I don't actively avoid it, but I'd say situational. The only time I've used it was to get a calling card. And what this one does, I can't remember the name of it, is you stand still and it creates a force field around you that gives you some shielding. And you just need... For the calling card, you either need to take damage in there or not take damage while standing in it. And that's the only other time I've used it. I can see it maybe being useful while trying to do something specific where you have to stand still, but other than that, time slip, must have. Again, Black Ops 4 perk strictly, but I love that perk. It makes the mystery box roll faster, it makes the pack-a-punch roll faster, and granted, once you have whatever weapon you want out of the box and you've pack-a-punched it all the way, then it becomes useless. But until then, or like if you're trying to get a specific weapon out of the box to get the camos for it, super nice to have. That way you're not like losing a gun in the box or losing it in the pack-a-punch, because it's pretty much as soon as you like buy the box, you've got the weapon, or pretty much as soon as you put the thing in the pack-a-punch, it's right back out. Tombstone, situational again. If you know how to use it correctly for like perk glitches, then that's fine. I'm just not a fan. Never really been a fan. It reminds me a lot of Who's Who. I just don't care for it. Something tortoise. We're gonna say the tortellini tortoise. I say it's good to have. I wouldn't say it's necessary, but what it does is when the buildable shields, if you have that perk and you've got one of those shields on, it makes it stronger and more durable, which is nice to have if you're going for an Easter egg or something. Winter's Howl, I don't mind it. It's not a perk that like I actively avoid or anything. It's like if you're down to like low health and you take a hit, then it freezes the zombies around you. It's not as OP as it sounds. Oops. Not as OP as it sounds. Yeah, I'd say it's okay. I don't remember what this one's called, but I'd say it's good to have. It's okay. You know what? No, I don't mind it. I wouldn't say it's good to have. I'd say if you get it on like a Perkaholic or something, fine. It doesn't really do anything to slow the game. Doesn't really do anything to speed the game up. Just occasionally a zombie will pop. Like exactly like it looks in the picture. When you're killing a train, occasionally one of them will just... And that's about it. So yeah. I am not going to fit the other one in here. You know what? We'll do it super quick. It is... Okay. This one is guns from Call of Duty Zombies, and it's not even specific whatsoever. It's just a ton of random weapons from across the games. the Treyarch ones. So yeah, let's get into it, and let's do this quick because we're already at 15 minutes. The Dragunov, I give it a B. It's not terrible. It's not as strong as your regular sniper, but it is semi-automatic, so yeah. Draken, same thing. The G11, I'll give it a B. It's super strong, but it does have a really low ammo, like in the stock, so Galvanuckles, C. They're cool, and they're one melee up till round 16, but if you're on round 16, the chances of you like actively trying to melee probably slim to none unless you're going for the trophy. So yeah, that's a C. It's cool for the novelty of the item, but not the effectiveness, you know what I mean? And it costs 6,000. By the time you have yourself set up and enough money to get that, it's about useless. You'll be on like round like 10 to 13. So Elcar, I'd say it's an A. It's a very solid weapon for them to put in the start of the map. It's like a fully automatic machine pistol. And it's good in a pinch, and it's not even that bad pack-punched. LSAT, classic. That's an A. I love the LSAT. And if you can get it in buried on that jump, which I'm sure everyone has perfected by now, as long as you're not playing with someone who's being a goober and trying to run for it as well, it's a really solid weapon to be able to get super early on. The Uzi, might disagree with me on this, but I'm going to put a S. That's just because I'm a fan of it. Like, outside of the game, I'm a fan of the weapon. I think it's a beautiful gun, and it works really well in zombies. The Pharaoh, the D, it's got the same problem with the G11 where it doesn't have a ton of stock ammo, but it lacks damage. A lot of damage. SMR, F. You know what? E. Pack-a-punched, it's not terrible. If you can survive with it long enough to pack-a-punch it. Other than that, it's rough around the edges. AK-47, not a bad gun. Moderate damage, higher fire rate, decent control. But, you know, it wears off quick, because it is like a lighter SMG. The Windstaff, A. We'll give it an A. I don't know what that gobblegum is. I didn't really use a ton of the extra gobblegums. I have a ton of them. Like, I have at least double digits of every single one. But, like, I just don't use them that much. Yeah. Commando, S. All day. And, yeah, you know, again, I just like the gun. I will actively go back and play Black Ops 1 Zombies sometimes just to try to get that gun. Because it's a solid gun in every game mode. The Dingo, A. Solid fire rate, solid, like, ammo stock. Reload even with speed cola is kind of slow, but it's an LMG, so it's kind of expected. DSR, solid in multiplayer, not as solid in zombies. Again, stock ammo is kind of an issue. What is this? What am I looking at right here? Lever action. Hold on, I'm just pulling this up here real quick to get a better look at it. Why can't I remember which game this is from? Who cares? We'll put it in B. We'll keep it right there, just because it looks cool. I want to say World War II. I don't remember. The Galil, I'll put an A. Now, if you've seen me live stream older Zombies games, you'll know what I'm about to say. I think it's a phenomenal weapon. My only drawback from it is I always will stand by this. I think it does so much better before you pack-a-punch it than it does pack-a-punched. And maybe that's just me, and maybe it's just I've been biased on that for so long that like my brain refuses to see otherwise, but I stand by that firmly. Jet gun, F. Garbage. It takes a ridiculous amount of effort to build, and then once you've built it, if you use it for more than 5 seconds, it explodes, and you have to rebuild it. It's such a terrible gun. The KN-44, B. I think any AK variant is okay in zombies. It's okay. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it gets the job done. M14, C. It's a good gun. Pretty solid. I think I've only pack-a-punched it a couple times just for the sake of seeing it pack-a-punched. Never a gun I really go for. We'll get to that in a second. The Thompson, or the M1987, whichever you want to say. It's solid. I think the lack ability to change things on it in certain games can be its drawback, can be its downfall, just as much as it can fight, like, oh, it's cool because nostalgia, you know what I mean? MP40 Afterburner S. That's another bias. MP40 has always been one of my favorite weapons. Like, outside of Call of Duty, like, in general, MP40 all day. I love that thing. The Olympia, that's an A. With double tap and Pack-a-Punch, that thing turns into the Hades, and it is an absolute powerhouse. Sets them on fire. I think I've used that thing up until like round like 38, and it just shreds. It's way better than you'd want to give it credit for it being a starting room weapon. Paralyzer, D. Yeah, it's cool. You can fly around, but let's be honest, let's all be real for a second. The damage output's a little lackluster. Like, it's a cool weapon for novelty's sake, but other than that, it's got Galvaknuckles syndrome. The Shiva. Oh, you can fight me on this all you want, but that gun, same as the Olympia, double tap and Pack-a-Punched, and you get rapid fire on that thing. It slays, dude. Like, way better than you'd expect. It's one of my favorite guns to go for in Black Ops 4. 3? Black Ops 3. What am I looking at here? Is that the Strife? I'll give that an A. I think it's the Strife. It's hard to see. That was the first gun in Black Ops 4 I had gold. And it's a very solid starter pistol, especially within 9, being able to Pack-a-Punch it before Pack-a-Punch is open by doing a couple challenges. Yeah. The Thunder Gun, obvious A. Man, we might have to make a switch here. We'll put the Elcar in B. That way you can still see everything on the screen. Okay. Yeah. 48 Dredge. It's okay. I could take it or leave it. If I get it out of the box, it's not a problem. It gets super strong once you Pack-a-Punch it, but man, even though it's like a burst fire, it's 6-round burst, and it goes through ammo like ridiculously fast. A rocket launcher. That's not the small one, is it? Whatever that is, D. Not a huge fan of most rocket launchers. Yeah. The Law, another D. Not great, not terrible. So, yeah. The SOG, we'll give the SOG a solid A. I know I just detested doing A's so that you guys could still see everything, but, you know, too late for that now. What do we got here? The XM, C. I know I just said this, but this one's not bad. Oh man, I'm trying to remember the RPG-7. When you Pack-a-Punch that, unfortunately that's not on this list for some reason. When you Pack-a-Punch that gun, it has 8 rockets per mag. And with double tap, that thing is absolutely ruthless. The China Lake, I don't think I've ever even Pack-a-Punched that. So we're going to give it an E. I'm sure it's fine, but I don't think even once I've ever Pack-a-Punched it. And for some reason the chainsaw's here. I don't know the reasoning for this, so we'll throw it in A, just because I like it. Alright. No, not live support. And now, back to the big screen. So, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know this video was super long, way longer than I wanted it to be. I should have cut it off, but I didn't. And, yeah. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed. Hope you're having a good day. If you're watching early on, have a good rest of your day. See you in the next one, which will probably be Minecraft or something. Which... no, we'll save that for the live stream. We'll talk about that during a live stream at some point. So, yeah. See ya.